To be, hey everyone, this is Hyper. I know you probably were not expecting me to be wanting to talk about something today, but here we are. Okay, so this video is going to be a response to a short that I saw made by a YouTuber called Realism. And let me just say what I saw him mentioning is fucking stupid, okay? Essentially, he says that Christians should not be watching anything promoting, anything promoted, like promoting sex or drug use. Here's the thing. So, music that mentions sex or drug use is not is not at all promoting it. Yes, it is describing it. Yes, it says that it feels good. It does not say that there should be. It does not say that, hey, you should definitely do this. No, it's describing an emotion. It's an emotional state. Country music that has sex in it is not, or describes the act of it, or even passion. Describes passionate love is not a bad thing. There are plenty of country songs that I love listening to, that I don't care what is describing what the song means what it's referring to. I can still enjoy it without quite literally really interpreting that some way. Also, this also kind of tends to be a bit of a it also tends to act like it's the equivalent of a parent that's trying to deter a child from a song. Well, a child might think that it's something different. Meanwhile, what the song that you're talking about is something much more devious. And I'm over here like, people, let God do his job. Seriously. The Bible says he takes what the enemy means for evil and he uses it for good. Good. Then let that happen. Don't ruin the opportunity. Another thing is that, again, if a song mentions drug use, it's not promoting it. In fact, it is actually calling it out. It's most songs that I hear here that mention drugs are actually not saying that it's a positive thing. They're actually more or less calling it out and being negative about it. The songs that I do hear that mention drugs are not saying, they're usually in a negative light. They're not saying, oh, this is good for you, or you should definitely take this. It's more like, they more or less actually, most of the time, are mentioning the immense toll it is taking on the mind and body. So yeah, there's that. So, yeah. Sorry, Realism, but you can't exactly be doing that. Also, you can just because not every mystic that pops up on YouTube who is a false teacher. If they are ex-Christian, they are no longer Christian, or if someone uses Christian teachings in a heretical way, that is not a false teacher. That is clearly someone who is mistaken. It's not a false teacher, that is a mistaken person, and not some douchebag trying to deceive you. The world is not all black and white, people. Stop assuming it is. Yeah. Another thing is that you 100% need to be able to essentially understand that just because someone says something you do not, just because someone says something that you personally condemn, does not mean you have to condemn them all the time. Another thing is that, The other thing is that you also have to understand.
I go in, he's supposed to have a surgery at 10. He comes to coffee, I'm thinking, I'll just run up there after surgery. He should be out of
Is
surgery.
that most of the time most of the songs that I have heard that mention drug use are not promoting it. It's not saying this is a good thing. It's saying help. I need help. Are you going to deny someone the help that they need? Are you going to deny the truth that when someone mentions, most of the time when drugs are mentioned in a song, they're not promoting it, but are rather in fact calling for help? If so, you're more a monster than that song. In that song, you're more a monster than the writer and the singer of that song. You're more of a monster than them. Just saying. One of my pet peeves with this content. Another thing is that you really need to understand is that just because a song mentions something that you consider to be inappropriate, like say for example a song mentions sex, that song is not necessarily evil.
So, turns out the doctor had a golf date in Florida.
He could just be going off of raw emotion, like that. Nice. He's not talking about. If they're talking about, most of the time it's not talking about some absolute promiscuous woman. A lot of the time it's just talking. Time when a song mentions sex, they are talking. The man is talking about his wife. Not some random woman he slept with. No.
Go ahead and fix your chest.
Because if it is some random woman he slept with, in which at that point, but I'm starting to maybe have a question, but if the song isn't saying that he's talking about some random woman he slept with, I shall politely ask you to buzz off about things. Politely ask you to buzz off. Why?
So his daughter was happy with that.
Hi.
The original surgeon, he's happy because he gets to move everybody's private jet to Florida to play golf. Nobody knew that until the second surgeon
Because the good part about that is that God actually might be the one telling you you're wrong, because as the Bible does say that we are supposed to in fact disperse and multiply, and if we do not disperse and multiply, we don't multiply and go out and multiply, then and if we don't reproduce, how are we supposed to go out and multiply? Answer me that question, sir. I know I'm not a really big creator, but I honestly want to know your response. If you don't want to talk to me, that's fine. And just know that a lot of the things you mentioned, that I legitimately am not okay with you saying, because some things are just part of life. For example,
brother
Simple.
took him home and kind of helped him get situated. So, home health care didn't get there until like Friday of the end of that week. And then, I mean, they're there.
For example, are you telling us that would you disobey God just to say that we shouldn't be talking about reproduction? I mean, that sounds like a good thing, preserve humanity. A lot of the, whether you like it or not, a lot of the post-apocalyptic stories is where humanity is all but extinct. Actually, we are fed by some sort of instinct to save the human race because humanity is all but dead. Should the last man and woman of the human race, then not re-jumpstart humanity? Should they then allow humanity to pass on and let another sentient race take over, or should they do what they can to preserve the race of humanity? Your statements are very much facing scrutiny. Another thing I will mention is that if a horror movie is promoting demons, has demons or violence in it, that's not promoting it. A lot of the time, the villain it's not glorifying the monster. It is essentially saying this is bad, not, oh wow, look at this awesome thing. No, it's saying, oh no, there's a killer on the loose. And I personally have a personal opinion that pretty much, by the way, a lot of them are based off of characters that have no common sense. No, seriously, dude. You really pay attention to a plot of any slasher horror film, you'll understand why I'm telling you this, why I'm saying this. But yeah, realism. If you are seeing this, please remember that it's just because when something is fictional, I have every right to call you out on this. I've never watched any horror movies. However, I will call out that you can't, okay, so the only reason why I wouldn't watch it is because I know how stupid the plot is usually. I know that say for example, there's a cop character, a retired cop. He doesn't have his gun. How is the one guy who should be able to defend himself not able to defend himself? That's fucking bullshit. Most people say, then most people look at me and go, and sure, you can say, most people look at you and go, and tell you that the majority is stupid. Actually, I'm speaking realistically. Sure, it's fine because it's a horror movie. But that does not translate to inevitable killing spree. To me, that translates to someone had an anger issue, and if we actually portray horror movies realistically, I tell you the fact that why in the real world horror movies would not work. They just wouldn't work. They wouldn't make any sense because they would not work at all. Essentially, what's going on here is basically, the two movies that do have demons or possession in them, it's not glorifying a demon or the gore or the horror. it's actually just because something shows a lot of gore and horror and violence, it doesn't make it it doesn't mean it's glorifying that violence. Actually, quite the contrary. It's actually saying this is actually showing you how bad it is. I don't think you know. Do you know how films work? Because if you knew how films actually worked, then maybe you'd understand this better. But yeah, essentially, also the last thing you mentioned in that short, any kind of pornography would be is to not get myself, to not give this channel, to not give this video pulled off of the internet. Any type of inappropriate, actual fictionalized, any types of actual fictionalized sex, like, pornography. Because I'm trying not to say the actual word, the actual P word. Let me just say that. One, first off, that is an act that is a fiction. One that is fictionalized. It's not real. It's not actually happening. It's all scripted. And another thing is that while it has been shown to have damaging effects on the brain, or on mental development, damaging effects on mental development,
They had characters named George Washington. He came in mobile and
in fact, the funny thing is, by the way, Memento Mori is not glorifying death. It's actually a. If someone says remember that you die, that's not glorifying death. No, Memento Mori. If someone gives you basically the equivalent of a Memento Mori warning, that's a warning about a Memento Mori. A Memento Mori is not saying, hey, we're all gonna die anyways. No, that's not what that is. The point is, a Memento Mori is saying, remember. It's basically what the Ash Wednesday ritual is. It's essentially remember that you are dust, to dust you return. In other words, remember where you came from and that you will return there. Basically, yes, it is a Christian memento mori, a reminder that we are all finite beings under an infinite God. Just because, I have a lot of problems with what you just said there. I hope you understand that just because something has demons in it, or has exorcisms, or even has sort of like murder, killing, death, you're forgetting the major point here. It's not glorifying it. It is saying most horror movies that have murder in them, have a killer, are usually saying that are not glorifying it. They are telling you they are showing you a problem and a killing spree. They're showing you a crime happening in that world. It's not glorifying it. No, sure they have motivations, but the killers may have motivations, but that doesn't mean their motivation. It doesn't mean you can see their motivations as justifying as actual justification. Maybe reconsider what you said realism. I get you have a high follower fan base, but someone had to say this about your video. Not every claim you made is entirely defensible. Not all of them are entirely true. A lot of them are biased and are kind of missing the point, missing the actual gray areas where you got to realize that a horror movie is not glorifying a monster. Yeah, sure. Well, maybe people may try to emulate these creatures. They think it looks cool. However, making death look cool is not the same as glorifying it. Thanks and God bless.